Two people have called saying you in this vehicle are trying to sell them items that they don't know are stolen. We don't know are stolen.
Then there's no crime. You're asking me for my ID illegally.
He conducted a traffic stop.
That's not how that works.
That is how
no crime has been committed. There's no reasonable articulable suspicion. If I have not been suspected of committing a crime with reasonable articulable suspicion, being videoed for my protection and yours. What's your name, officer? Please identify yourself.
McLeod from the Clewiston Police Department.
And you, sir?
Officer Garza, Clewiston Police Department.
And what am I being pulled over for?
Well, two reasons. One, you made a turn back there without a turn signal. Two, we had a call about you trying to sell something at a store, and at two different stores at that, not just one. So a suspicious activity call. And we had to make out with you to see who you are and what you're doing.
Got you.
So can I have your license, please?
So what crime is that?
Well, there wasn't a crime committed because we don't know if the items are stolen or not.
Do you have suspicion that I committed a crime? Reasonable articulable suspicion, either one of you, that I committed a crime, was about to commit a crime,
somebody
was in the process of committing a crime.
Jennifer, are there any stipulations?
Absolutely not. Except that you abide by the law.
I am abiding by the law.
No, you're not. You're asking me for my ID illegally.
He conducted a traffic stop.
That's not how that works.
That is how
no crime has been committed. There's no reasonable articulable suspicion. Excuse me.
When you commit a traffic
suspicion?
There's no reasonable articulable suspicion that a crime has been committed. That a crime has been committed.
It was going to be committed. How do we know the stuff you have is not stolen? We got no way to prove it. No way.
Not how that works.
It's not. No way I can prove it.
Please get your supervisor here.
Sure.
Because that's not how this works. Well, then she should know better. She should know better. And so should you, Mr. Garza.
We are allowed to step out with people.
If I have not been suspected of...
The stop begins with vague claims of suspicious activity, but even the officers admit they don't know if any crime occurred. The driver calmly challenges the reason for the stop, pointing out that suspicion alone is not a crime, and that no reasonable articulable suspicion has been clearly stated. Despite this, officers continue demanding identification without explaining a lawful basis, turning a routine encounter into a tense standoff. As the questions go unanswered and authority is asserted without clarity, the driver asks for a supervisor, exposing the thin line between investigation and overreach and reminding viewers why knowing your rights matters.
Committing a crime with reasonable articulable suspicion.
Two people have called saying you in this vehicle are trying to sell them items that they don't know are stolen. We don't know are stolen.
Then there's no crime.
Can you tell me that it's not stolen?
I already told you that.
I didn't ask. So how have you told me?
Because you said that you got a phone call and I asked you if that was illegal and you said no.
Called over the radio that's you.
Here's my paperwork right there. Nothing illegal.
Was that so hard?
No. But you can't just get people's ID for nothing, Mr. Garza.
It's not for nothing.
It is. There's policy and procedure, and there's constitutional law that you swore an oath to, my friend.
Hold on. If somebody's standing here, and they're just standing here with no kids, and they're a grown person just sitting there, that's a suspicious person.
You know, I just got a call about some officers that we had to watch out for here that were breaking the law and the people's constitutional rights.
I can show you that's not us.
You sure it's not you?
Not me. But look,
I have suspicion to believe it's you.
You gonna let me finish what I'm saying so you have an understanding?
How you doing, boss?
There's a supervisor right there if you want to speak.
How you doing, supervisor? We're just getting an understanding of constitutional law here. You know, no big deal. He said he pulled me.
The encounter spirals into a tense back and forth as officers claim they received calls about suspicious sales, yet admit they have no proof that any crime was committed. The driver presses, repeatedly asking for the legal basis for the stop and the demand for highlighting that mere suspicion is not a crime. Officers cite policy and procedure, but the driver points out the constitutional limits of their authority, emphasizing rights that were being overlooked as supervisor arrives. But the core issue remains: calls and assumptions do not override the law, and without reasonable articulable suspicion, detaining someone or demanding identification crosses a line that the Constitution exists to protect.
Over because he got a phone call that, you know, we were selling stuff. I asked him if that's illegal. He said, no, that's not illegal, right? That's where we were at in the conversation. He asked for my ID. So I asked him again, what did we do that was illegal? For me to give you my ID. Did we have any reasonable articulable suspicion that a crime has been committed? He said no. We got a phone call. 2 people said that items were trying to be sold. That's not a crime. Not here, not in Texas, not in, anywhere. It's not a crime.
Okay. My understanding is you were pulled over for a traffic offense.
That's not what I was pulled over for. Mr. Garza pulled me over. This woman pulled through here after. There was no illegal turn. That right there is a turnaround. You don't have to put your blinker on at that turnaround right there.
To make
All right. So have you identified yourself, correct?
I told him who I was right there.
All right.
It's not stolen stuff. I'm not trying to give him a hard time, but you guys can't just pull people over and say, oh, we got a phone call. Somebody said you were selling stuff. Let me see your ID. That's not how this works. I respect the law. You guys got to respect it too. You swore an oath to it.
Okay. All right. Hold on for there. Okay. Look, my name is Sergeant Nieves, badge number 0464. All right.
You know your shit.
Clifton Police Department. Yes. Look, we got a call at the Ace Hardware parking lot. Person just wanted to remain anonymous, saying that, hey, somebody was trying to sell a stereo in the parking lot, and that's it. They didn't request contact, nothing along those lines, all right? Look, he conducted a traffic stop. He was just trying to identify you guys. Everything's good. That's all we're trying to do.
Keyword, try to identify.
That's all. Just try.
But that's not how that works.
Look, we're here, attempting to identify. That's all we're trying to do, all right?
Your name again?
Sergeant Tito Nieves. All righty, sir.
Be safe. Thank you.
One, okay?
And we could...
The encounter escalates into a clash over procedure, and rights officers cite anonymous calls about selling items yet admit there's no proof anything illegal occurred. The driver calmly points out that turn signals weren't required and no crime was committed, challenging the officer's authority to demand ID based on hearsay. A sergeant arrives clarifying that the stop was merely an attempt to identify them, but the driver emphasizes that attempt does not justify overreach even with proper sales licenses. The officers cannot assume wrongdoing. The situation highlights a critical point. Law enforcement must respect constitutional limits, and suspicion alone does not create legal obligation or guilt.
It's out here. It's not illegal.
It's not illegal.
Especially if I got my sales tax license, correct?
If you are a business conducting business within the city, you need a tax business receipt.
Got all that.
We don't have
Alrighty.
that knowledge.
Thank you. But you can't receive that knowledge illegally.
But we can ask you.
Okay, and I can refuse.
Yes, you can, but we still need to figure out what you're doing somewhere. So until we figure that
You
out,
could try to figure it out.
until we figure that out, you are deemed a suspicious person. You understand?
Yeah, but being a suspicious person is not somebody that has been deemed reasonable, articulable suspicion of committing a crime, about to commit a crime, in the process of committing a crime, would give you the only viable and reason to ask for my ID, period. There's no exceptions at all.
So the traffic stop means nothing.
That wasn't a traffic stop.
So you made.
You specifically told me, and you are being recorded in my truck too. You specifically told me when I asked you why I was being pulled over, you specifically stated that you got a phone call about suspicious.
The exchange reaches its breaking point as the driver refuses to surrender his ID, calmly explaining that being labeled suspiciosus, not the same as being suspected of a crime. Officers insist they need to figure out what he's doing, but the driver pushes back, reminding them that the Constitution sets clear limits on their authority. The alleged traffic violation unravels under scrutiny with no law clearly broken and no valid stop established. As frustration builds, the driver makes his point unmistakably. Clear orders and assumptions do not override constitutional rights. In the end, authority gives way to reality, and the encounter ends as it began, with no crimino and a lesson in accountability.
Activity.
I'm telling you, two
And
things
she
that
pulled
happened.
up
The reason.
when she pulled up afterwards,
Hold on.
because she came
You really don't
from
like it
she
when
came
people
from
talk
this
to you.
way.
How am I
Well,
supposed to-
I'm
how am I
teaching
supposed
you.
to articulate?
How are you supposed to learn if you don't listen?
What do you mean? How you supposed to learn if you don't listen?
I already know what the fuck I'm doing.
That's the problem with closed-minded people.
That's why I already know what I'm doing. That's
Listen.
why he left. That's why you're gonna leave, and that's why she left without getting my fucking ID. You see what I'm saying?
Well, I'm still conducting a traffic stop, so I do need your ID.
There's no traffic stop. For what? There's no legal
When
traffic
you
stop.
turn, do you not have to signal which way you're going?
On that turnaround right there, you do not have to signal. Absolutely not, because it's not a left turn.
What is it?
I'm turning, it's a turnaround. That's what that's made for. There's no stop sign there.
There's a stop sign right there.
That's not where I turned around at. I turned around further up.
So you did a U.
I didn't turn around right here.
Oh, all right.
Stop trying to dig, dude. That's not how this is going to work, dude.
I'm gonna do what my sergeant says. Here you are, sir.
Do what the Constitution says.
10-4.
Your sergeant ain't gonna cover your ass when you get sued, dude.